Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. In this video, we're going to take a look at something that is involving Mr. T. The news is reporting that on Monday, he has to come up with a bond equal to the amount of a judgment against him in New York City. And the concerning point of this is that it's over $400 million. And he can't find a company to write a bond for him for that amount. It's a very unusual situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. I've been asked to do this before, but most of all, we're going to be asking the universe if there's something that we should know about this situation or a concern or action that is advised. Let's take a look at a compilation I've got. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. If you'd like to do that for yourself, you can simply click on the Facebook link that'll be in the video description box. But I've included a couple of articles that outline what's going on in case you're not in the US or just up to speed about what's going on. But basically, Mr. Trump has been found liable for a victimless crime. He borrowed money, paid it back early, and no one complained. In fact, all the companies and banks involved were still willing to do business with him. But the Attorney General in New York has decided that he overvalued or overestimated his properties. I'll get into it. Let's look at the let's look at the compilation. It gets stranger and stranger and more ridiculous the more I read about it, basically. Okay, but it is concerning if you love seeing justice carried out impartially and judiciously and correctly. This is obviously such a witch hunt that it bothers me. It does, but not to the point that I'm going to let it lower my vibration for very long. Okay, here's the share screen. This is from Gateway Pundit, and it was dated yesterday that New York Attorney General Letitia James could start seizing president's property on Monday over a non-crime with and it goes on to say no victims. Okay, President Trump's continuing the impossible process to obtain a bond large enough to cover the entire amount of a judgment against him that hasn't even gone through the appeals process yet. Okay, now here's some comments I saw about it. These aren't my comments. I just included them for you, that this should be stayed by a federal judge for an Eighth Amendment. That's a constitutional Eighth Amendment violation, which basically says that their excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Okay, now it does mention fines. And since there was no victim to this alleged misaction on the part of President Trump, it truly is a fine. Okay, so, and that point is made in this comment that it's a fine, not damages, because no damages had been incurred by any party. James had simply declared Trump guilty of breaking the law and then imposed a fine without due process of law. Trump can only be declared guilty of breaking the law in a criminal trial. No such trial has taken place. If James seizes Trump's property or assets on the back of the sham farce, that will be racketeering as defined by the RICO Acts. Of course, getting a impartial judge to impartially apply the law in New York State is practically impossible. That's a Laura comment that wasn't here on this. Okay, the New York Times looked into it, and this is the first time this fraud statute has been used when there was no victim complainant and no money lost. That means it fits the definition of selective persecution to a T. Trump runs a legitimate company that employs thousands of people. The statute that Letitia used allegedly has to do with phony companies that are set up with the intent of fleecing people of their money. It doesn't even apply here. If she'd sent it to the commercial division where it would have been appropriate, it would have been thrown out months ago, as those judges over the commercial division know real estate law, and there is no crime, no fraud, no victims here. She deliberately sent it to the wrong division with a judge who knows nothing about real estate law and has never had a case of this sort. Now, this article that is thumbnailed here, you can read it if you click on this link. And before you get too concerned, I saw something that was kind of heartwarming here. That billionaire investor John Paulson is going to hold a mega donor fundraiser for Donald Trump to help Trump pay his bond and retain his properties. And good for him. I hope he goes through with that. And I hope there's a lot of donors, even if they have to be confidential, so that there's, for whatever reason. Okay, so, and then a good summary article here is found on planettoday.com. You can click on that and read that. Now, as I was doing the research for this, I've got a kitty trying to get on camera here. Hello, you know what it is. Sorry, little side note here. I keep an earthing mat on my desk so that I'm grounded when I do the videos and work with the cards, and she likes that earthing mat. So you're gonna see a tail shortly. And Alyeska has joined the party. Okay. Anyway, when I was doing the research for this, I could feel myself getting tense and caught up in it. And I'm the one that's always telling you folks to observe and not absorb. So it was a good idea for me to back off from this a little bit. And I tried to take more of a 10,000 foot view. And I thought, you know what? President Trump loves to make an entrance. He loves to have that moment in the spotlight. And even though we're supposedly looking at a deadline on Monday for him to come up with those that exorbitant fine that as I said, hasn't even had a chance to be appealed at this point, which is highly unusual. I look for some kind of armored vehicle to pull up at the courthouse 10 minutes before the deadline and do something. I mean, that's something that I could see Mr. T, who loves to troll his opposition, doing quite well. And if you like that visual, let's spend the next few days making that manifest, okay? That it comes through. But regardless, I see Mr. T as a winner, even if a corrupt court has called him a loser. Ultimately, he's given a lot to to our world, and continues to. And even if properties are lost through this corrupt system, I just think he's going to be like Job, coming out ahead in the long run, because he's doing what he does for the good of humanity. I really believe that. I'm not saying that in any sort of reverent way, but just very respectful, very respectful. And so it feels like to me we don't have anything to worry about. We can kind of observe what's going on and what happens on Monday or prior to Monday, and without being too concerned, because I don't have 484 billion to give him. But if a million of us gave him 484, I could get in on that. So anyway, let's ask the cards. What's going on with this exorbitant fine and the deadline of Monday? What does the universe want to tell us as far as where we should be? What do we need to know? Let's find out. I'm just going to leave it that general, so that if there's something to be shared, we're going to find out real shortly. I'm going to move a cat and change camera, and we will see what the universe wants us to know as far as this Monday deadline, this exorbitant fine, and what's going on with Mr. T and the very biased and corrupt legal system of the state of New York. Okay, what does the universe want us to know about this situation involving this huge fine for Mr. T and the Monday deadline before properties will begin to be seized? That's more than one card. I'm just going to put it back in the deck. I'm not going to consider it what I call a jumper at this point. Okay, first off, we have the Sun. Then the Empress, two major arcanas talking about the situation, and these are very positive cards. We have the Five of Swords for the recent past. Current situation, we have the Six of Wands. Near future, we have the Two of Pentacles. And insights and information, we have an Ace of Cups. Remember, there was no yes or no element to this, just insights and information. And Temperance. So, oh my gosh, we have one, two, three major arcanas and an Ace of Cups out of 7 cards. 4 of them are heavily significant. So I'm going to tell you the insights that the cards are giving me, and we'll look at elements of the cards that lead me to say that. I can see in the camera that you can't see the top part of the Five of Swords. You can see enough of it to identify it, but I'm going to move cards down. Okay, so the situation's being indicated by the Sun, and the Sun is always talking about things are moving in the right direction. So even though this looks like it's very concerning for Mr. T and his family, it's not what it seems. The Empress is giving us a little more information. Again, a very loving card, a very powerful card. Divine feminine energy is strong in this. And even though it looks, like I said, on paper as if it's a concerning situation, it's really not. It's in fact playing out in 5D chess towards a very satisfying, victorious solution, ultimately. Okay, but right now, the victory's kind of already been won. We just haven't got the details yet. Now, in the recent past, we have the Five of Swords. That's a card. First of all, fives mean a temporary situation. So this entire thing of the persecution of Mr. T is temporary in nature, even though it doesn't seem like it's temporary in nature. And this card talks about walking away from a fight that has been not too fairly fought. It can also mean a partial win. So in the past, okay, the deep state has been celebrating this as a win, but it's really not quite what it seems, okay? And yeah, we know it's shenanigans, and it's an unfair application of the law, and shouldn't have happened to start with. But again, look here, for the current, doesn't matter. There's a victory involved here. Nothing to worry about. Near future, okay? We've got a card here that talks about balance, a lot of balance going on here. So there's ultimately going to be a balancing of the scales of justice on this situation. Absolutely. And Pentacles often talk about tangible assets. So it may be that for a time, there's going to be some money tied up in this whole endeavor. But ultimately, again, we've got that victory card showing up here, and here, Ace of Cups showing up. The Ace of Cups, it talks about that there's a good potential here for a wonderful outcome. And the Temperance card, again, where we've got this is kind of our, balancing act and what have you. This card talks about being not having too high expectations. So what we're being told is we're not going to see the entire situation where the victory is actually going on with this in the near future. It won't all be evident, but enough of it will be that we're going to go, okay, that episode is done. We've put paid to that chapter, and we can move on a little bit. I'm going to get 2 more cards and see if there's more insights the universe wants us to know about this Monday deadline. But ultimately, guys, remember, the whole thing is being indicated with the Sun and the Empress, very positive, very powerful cards. Okay, and let's see what else we got. We have the Eight of Wands and Death. Okay, now death isn't a concerning thing here. We're looking at the near future, what's going on here, long, slow change. This case is going to actually start the ball rolling for a lot of transformation of the courts and the legal system. Okay, so they better enjoy their shenanigans now, because it's not going to last for long, is what I'm getting from this. So we've got a transformation that's going to be in process, okay, and nothing to worry about when it does. I'm still curious. I don't know if you are. I want to see a little more. Okay, we've got some white hat oversight here, and showing up here with the Four of Pentacles. There has been alt media chatter that Mr. T has been offered whatever he needs to get through this without actually losing his properties. And it looks like that alliance, that alt media chatter about the alliance being available to him to help him out if need be is absolutely true. He's trying to solve things without going that route. Okay, he's trying to take the high road, but ultimately it's all going to play out just fine, and it's playing out just exactly as the universe intends and this 5D chess game intends. So let's recap. There's concerning news that the Letitia James in New York is insisting that Mr. T pay the fine that's been judged against him in full by Monday or lose properties. And it's in excess of $480 million is some we're talking about when you add in the interest that she's also charging for that judgment. He hasn't even had a chance to appeal that judgment. And the selective prosecution absolutely is provable. There's never been a case prosecuted like this in the history of New York State. It's a violation of his Eighth Amendment constitutional rights. But it sounds concerning. So we asked the universe, what's going on? What do we need to know? Now, what we got was the situation is actually the questions being indicated by the sun, which means that actually everything is going forward in a way that is according to a plan and a positive plan. So not Letitia James' plan. The Empress also gives us a little information here. Very powerful divine feminine energy, kind of a, we got this, okay? We've got this. These are two major arcanas involving the situation, and they're very positive. We have a success card showed up in the near future with the Ace of Cups, indicating success. And actually, even in the current, we had a victory card showing up here with the Six of Wands. Interestingly enough, there are cards that indicate justice, and they did not show up at all in this situation. So we know there's no true justice involved. Mr. T has been accused of a victimless crime, and there's to have a crime, you have to have a victim. And it's it can be concerning, but we're taking a broader view of that, with the cards telling us that actually the precedents being set here are going to herald some changes that are going to take a while to roll out. They are, but they will. They will. And reassurance that the alt media chatter, that the alliance, because this is an alliance card and it's a very high one, it can even talk about benevolent off-world, however you view that. Okay. Divine, just friendly, benevolent off-world beings, whatever it is, kind of got their hand on this. And so worry not. Mr. T's trying to handle this without accepting that kind of assistance, but it's available to him if he chooses to. When it gets down to the wire, if a property is seized, it's going to be because Mr. T and his team have chosen to let it be seized. There's a plan. And I don't play 5D chess, but I'm getting to where I can see when it's being played. And guys, in this situation, there is 5D chess going on. So I would not like to be that judge or Miss James. Oh, but if I was, I wouldn't have pursued a victimless crime anyway. There's a lot of real crime that's not getting prosecuted that needs to be dealt with. So, yeah. In the meantime, we have powers of manifestation. We that are watching this, we regular, ordinary humans that can't loan millions of dollars to Mr. T. And we can, as I said earlier in this video, we can spend a few minutes visualizing a happy outcome for this. Whether it's as dramatic as a armored vehicle showing up 5 minutes before the deadline, filled with small bills that they need to count, whatever. we can manifest a happy outcome for this, because one is on the way. It's just going to take a while to roll out. In the meantime, keep those vibrations high. Don't let yourself worry. Like I said, even doing the research on this, I started to feel myself getting caught up in it, and I'm pretty good at being detached. That's how I don't burn out. So if it got me caught up for a little bit where I had to put the brakes on and say, well, no, I'm not giving my energy in this fashion to this situation and this information, it can happen to all of us. And if you need to detach, go ahead, because you know what? The universe is going to continue and plans are going to unfold and beautiful things are going to happen, but maybe not as quickly or in the way we imagine, but they will. And if we need to detach for a while and recharge, do it. Okay. It is perfectly okay. And things seem to roll on with or without us. So that's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention. And again, if I could encourage you to work on manifesting the outcome you'd like to see, that's all we can do. Unless there's some kind of fundraiser where we're asking you $484, then many of us could help with that. I send you love and light and everything bright. If you're willing to receive it, it's yours. Bye.